What's the most difficult part of portrait photography for you? I'm genuinely interested. Pop your answer in the comments below. Is it the lighting? Is it the camera settings? Is it working in a studio? For me, it's the question of why? Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. And why take portraits is vital for me. It's not enough just to have nice lighting, nice location, nice subject. I like to do a themed shoot. And themes give me a reason to take photos. I have a look, a style, and they can all blend together to make my pictures just that bit more interesting. So today, I've got a few props. I've got a hat, I've got a pocket watch. I think we might do more of a vintage style. Whilst I'm setting everything up, you should click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a video right here on Adorama TV. Right, let's get a light set. It's pretty much done actually. Let's get a model in, let's get shooting. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Chloe. Chloe's going to be the model for this photo shoot, and as you can see, she has a styling that is, well, quite distinctive. We've gone with this tweed gentleman look, and it really does look good, but if you look closer, you'll notice that Chloe is only styled from the waist up. And that's deliberate, because that's the bit I'm actually going to photograph. Think about it like this. If we start styling Chloe's feet, then you have to start to think about the flooring, and that's where life gets a lot more complicated. My camera settings aren't going to change throughout this session. They're going to remain at a flash sync speed, 250th of a second for my camera, f8, which is a middle of the road aperture, and ISO 200, which is the native ISO for my OM system, OM1 camera. Let's talk about lighting very briefly, because I've got a single light way back over here. It's going to give me a really flat light. We're going to change the lighting as we go through this. So I'm not going to worry about the lighting yet until I've got everything else sorted out. And that begins with the background. We could keep it really simple. A black background. It's timeless. It is simple to use and it looks, well, just a little bit disappointing. So what about the white wall? It's not quite the look and feel for this particular session. So what I'm going to do first of all is get rid of this background and get something a lot more interesting. So this is a different background. This is actually the Westcott X-Drop system with their rather nice copper background on. It looks really good, and I think the warmer tones on this could work really well with the sort of tweed look that we've got going on with Chloe. But a background that you see in the real world doesn't necessarily photograph the same. So, well, let's try it. Chloe, in you go. I don't have to change my camera settings or my flash settings because nothing has actually moved. At least not enough to make a difference. So let's just take a test photo, see how this looks. And what I'm getting is a better picture. I think the warmer tones work quite well, but I still don't think this is exactly the right background, and I know I've got one more warm tone background to try, so let's switch this out. I know what you're thinking, this is exactly the same background as I used before, and you're right, it is, because my other background is here. So this is the Manfrotto backgrounds. It has the perfect name, it's called Tobacco. I think that's going to fit in, at least name-wise, with the shoot really well. And you might be wondering, why didn't I take the other background down? Well, the reason for that is I might want to change it as we go through the shoot, because when we set the lights up for real, my decisions might change a little bit, and taking this X-Drop background down and then putting it back up later on could be a nuisance, where just sliding this one in and out is much easier to do. So that's the background in place. Let's get Chloe back in and test this background. Once again, I don't have to change any of my settings. It's really going to be exactly the same as it was before. Flat lighting, evenly exposed. And this background looks so much better. It has that warmth to it. It has a little bit of a subtle texture and pattern. I really like this. I think it's going to work very well, but what I don't like is the lighting. So I'm going to take this light, move it a little bit, and see if we can make this simple setup work a little better. All right, I'm going to pop this near your chin, Chloe. Here we go. As you can see, I've moved the light round. That's the only thing that's changed. Same background, same Chloe look, but moving the light is going to change the feel that I get from this background. So one light setup. Let's take a test photo, see how this goes. And that looks pretty good. That now has a lot more drama to it. And you can see how this background really works well. There's always going to be a bit of post-processing in these photos, but on the whole, I think we're ready to take a few photos. So let's do a very quick photo session like this. Chloe, are you ready? Ready. Here we go. Maybe I spent too much time choosing the background, but I actually think that getting the background right on your theme shoot is essential, because if you get it wrong, it's really obvious, it just doesn't look right. A good background for a theme shoot will almost completely disappear. It should be there, but it shouldn't be the most important thing you see. Things have changed a little bit, so now rather than having Chloe stood up, she is sat down, which kind of makes sense because, of course, remember, she's only styled from the waist up. And then there is the table. Now, I could just use an ordinary white table. It makes a great reflector, but it doesn't look good in the pictures. So this is actually a very old tabletop. The legs have long since disappeared, but the wood looks really good. What about the lighting? I could just go with the key light back there, but that's actually not what this light is going to do. This light was always intended to be just a fill light. So at the moment I'm working at f8. I actually want that fill light to be 2 or 3 stops under that. So I'm going to take this down a little bit. So 3 stops less than f8 is f2.8. And to get there, I'm actually at 1/8 power. So let's take a test photo and just have a look at this light on its own acting as just a fill light. The results should be quite underexposed by about 3 stops. Obviously we need a bit more light on Chloe, so let's get another light and bring it into the scene. I've added in a second light, so this is going to be effectively the key light, the light that actually puts light onto Chloe. Fill light back there, key light here. This light needs to match my camera, which is f8. And to do that, I need to be at 1/4 power. So you might think, well, let's just test these 2 lights together, but multiple lights really work best if you turn lights off and test them one at a time. So let's see what the key light does on its own. And you can see I'm getting a little bit of light on the background, but not a lot, and quite a directional light on Chloe. But remember, these 2 images are going to be blended together. And when you blend them together, it looks like this. Around the back here, I've got an optional third light. It's going to be, well, technically a hair light, but Chloe's hair is covered by a hat, so we're going to call it a hat light. And it is a small light. It's only the Explore 100, and it's in a small strip box. But the key point about this is the grid, because I want this light to only light Chloe's shoulder and her hat. I don't want any of the light to spill onto the background because it's going to give me a hot spot just here if I do that. So I'm looking at the grid. I can't see the surface of the softbox, but from Chloe's point of view, Chloe, if you look back here, can you see the white through there? Chloe can see the white, the light will reach her. And the easiest way to test it is to take a photo. So I've got that light at 1/16 power. Let's use that light on its own and see what it gives us. And it gives us just a little catch of light exactly where we want it. And when you combine all 3 lights together, it looks like this. And of course, to really sell the theme and styling of this shoot, you need some appropriate props. So I've got some old books, which are nice warm tones in color. I've got an old pair of glasses, which I don't think we're gonna get Chloe to wear, but certainly they look the part in the scene. And Chloe has a little pocket watch to interact with. All of these things add together to create the aesthetics that we're after for our styled shoot. So with that in mind, I think we should take a few photos. Chloe, are you ready? Okay, let's take a few photos like this. We've probably spent more time actually choosing the props than anything else because they do a couple of things. They help to tell the story, but also they give something for your model to interact with. And when you have a static scene like this where the framing isn't really changing and your model's sat down, giving them something to do means you're going to get more variety in your pictures. And of course it doesn't stop here. There is always post-processing, which is going to lift these images even further, but that is something for another video. Having a theme for a photo shoot is a really great idea because it gives it a reason, it gives it direction, it gives it a theme, and that really does make for some great photos. But you've got to balance great lighting with the props, with the styling, with the background, with the choice of model. All of these things have to come together for a really good themed shoot, and all of it takes time, but it is time well spent. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or you've got any questions, leave me a comment down below, and whilst you're there you can find links to all of the gear that we've been using in this video. Click on the bell icon and you'll never miss a video right here on Adorama TV, and of course if you haven't already done so, why not click on that subscribe button? I'm Gavin Hoey, thanks for watching.